All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am not Alex Jones. I am Jason Bermas, sitting in for the great Alex Jones. He's going to be taking off for the entire week. A much-deserved rest, but I can guarantee you this. We're still going to have a blitz of news that the mainstream is not going to be telling you about. And today I really want to focus on Obama and Biden. You know, we're going to talk about the financial crisis as well. But I think it's really important that we talk about Obama and Biden because they're going to be sworn in on the 20th. And a lot of people out there still don't understand what a threat this is. Now, I am going to show you that Obama is under the same control that Bush is under. The same internationalists are backing him, giving him advice. You know, this should become apparent when people like Henry Kissinger go on CNBC, and we're going to play the clip for you, and say once again that this is a great opportunity for our next commander-in-chief, our new leader, to bring in a new world order. You know, this term just keeps coming up again and again and again. And, you know, a clip that I didn't get pulled up, but we're going to pull it up, is a Colbert clip. Everybody enjoys Stephen Colbert, you know, the right-wing pundit that is really just political satire, but he does it well. And he had John King, one of the seasoned CNN anchors, on, and he makes the joke that, you know, now that the media has gotten Obama elected, you know, what's next? And John King kind of laughs, and for some reason he says, well, if you're making the point that Obama is in for a new world order, I'd have to agree. And we're going to play that for you as well. Now, you know, Obama himself has talked about a world order on the David Letterman show. We're going to play that for you. I mean, why is it everybody's talking about a new world order and a crisis coming up? You know, I kind of brushed it off when Biden went on television, and he said that, mark my words, Obama will face a crisis like no other right when he gets inaugurated. You know, what does he know that we don't know? I kind of said to myself, oh, he's just blowing steam. He doesn't really have, you know, any kind of inside information. It's political talk. It's rhetoric. But then when you see Colin Powell get on Meet the Press and say that some kind of a disaster that nobody even knows about, but apparently Colin Powell knows about it, is going to occur on the 21st and the 22nd, you know, I'm leaning towards some kind of a financial crisis statement. And I'm now working on this Obama film with Alex, going over a lot of archive stuff. And I noticed that a lot of people, insiders, are saying that he's going to come out with some executive orders out of the gates. And you got to wonder what that's going to be about. What are these executive orders going to be? I bet you anything they're not going to have anything to do with the fake terror threat and the war in Iraq and the war in Afghanistan, and they're going to be completely and totally financial. So I'm leaving the window open there. Now, on the Biden front, it's all over the news that Joe Biden has made a fact-finding mission over in Pakistan to see if, you know, what's going on over there, because Pakistan has largely been blamed for these Mumbai attacks. But, of course, they're supposed to be terrorists, when, in fact, all the evidence leads back to the Inter-Service Intelligence Agency, or the ISI, and we're going to be discussing the ISI, what their role is, and who they really are. Because Pakistan and Joe Biden go way back. You know, Biden is a seasoned politician. He went on the floor of the House in 2001, right after the September 11th attacks, because he was well aware that the Inter-Services Intelligence Agencies had been funding the so-called hijackers. And he got up there and he started spitting out, the word should go out to those nations that pretend to be our friends. Pakistan in particular. Oh, well, if they're not our friend, Joe, then why were you meeting with the head of the Inter-Services Intelligence Agency in the weeks before 9/11 in Washington, D.C.? Why was the head of the CIA at the time meeting with them, George Tenet? Why was the National Security Advisory Board, or the National Security Council, meeting with this same gentleman? Why was Bob Graham and Porter Goss, the two people who would co-chair the initial congressional investigation into 9/11, having breakfast with the man in D.C. on 9/11? Tell me that. Well, it's pretty obvious. First of all, in the late 40s, when Pakistan was working with U.S. military, really the ISI was a brainchild of British intelligence. Now, obviously, United States intelligence and British intelligence have worked closely in both world wars and throughout the last 100 years. And what's crazy is, of course, in the 70s, the CIA came in a very overt role. And when you looked at these Mumbai attacks, the main guy that they were going after had very close ties to not only the Inter-Services Intelligence Agencies, which, I mean, in the international media, I mean, India's talking about it. It's a big story over there. They know that Pakistani intelligence helped in the Mumbai attacks. So really you have to look at the ISI as a conduit for the CIA, as a conduit for MI5, and really an international intelligence op. And what Biden is doing there is he's basically seeing how they can cover their tracks and relate better to India and the other people in the Middle East. Because Pakistan was used as a launching base for the war on terror into Afghanistan and later into Iraq. You know, Musharraf, you know, our dictator, was really strong-armed into letting these, you know, people stay there. He saw right away that he could be on the list of a nation that was bombed or would have sanctions against it or was helping terror. So he went right along. They've now changed the dictator, but it's the same old policy. So coming up in the next segment, we're going to play a lot of those clips, and we're going to get your commentary in the second half of each hour. Now, why is it important that we expose Obama? Well, I mean, people have drunk the Kool-Aid on this guy. It is from both sides, going over the acceptance speech, going over the night he won. I mean, people are in tears. I still remember, you know, I'm a New York guy, upstate, and walking in to get a coffee at my local convenience store, and I'm looking at the cover of the New York Post, I believe it was, and the clerk of the thing, she's like, "Isn't it great? It's the greatest thing ever. We did it. We won." And I'm like, no, it's not so great. I'm like, it's actually totally and completely evil. And I explained to her, you know, they made this a big race issue, like this was a triumph for blacks. No, it would have been a triumph for African Americans if Cynthia McKinney had actually won, the Green Party candidate, the person that I voted for. Yeah, somebody who was actually genuine in her positions. So I explained to her, you know, that was a ploy. You know, that's something that we can all relate to. I explained to her that, I mean, first of all, let's look at the guy. In 2004, when he gave the keynote speech out of nowhere at the Democratic National Convention, he wasn't even a senator yet. Let's explain this to the layman's out there. You get 2 senators a state, okay? That's 2 each. You get 100 senators completely. Now, there are things called state senators, and you get a lot more of those based on your population in your state. Now, Barack Obama was a state senator until 2004. He has little to no experience in anything. Yeah, is he well educated? Of course, he's gone to all these different institutions. That's because he's been supported by insiders. This guy is an internationalist. You know, the jury's still out on whether he was really born in Kenya or not. They never, you know, showed his birth certificate. Whether he was born in Hawaii or Kenya is almost a moot point. This guy is an internationalist. He's been to Africa many times. He went in front of a German audience, which I can't get enough of that German audience speech. If you've never seen it, Sky News, which is the Fox arm over in Europe, called it his New World Order speech. And he was calling for a New World Order, and he talks about global citizenship in that speech and how we all need to come together. And this supposedly is the guy. You know, Farrakhan, who I had a little bit of respect for, you know, to bring people together, basically. He was able to bring literally 1 million people down to D.C. twice with the Million Man March and the Millions More March from their frustration. And quite frankly, a lot of the bow tie type Muslims out there are more in the know and educated about current affairs than I'd say 90% of the Christians out there. Sorry, guys, not trying to bash you, but a lot of you guys are just total lemmings. You want to vote for McCain, vote for Bush, and think that they're Christian conservative, they care about you, and they're really Republicans. It's not the case. A lot of these guys know that the paradigm has shifted, but boy, they just they couldn't pass up a black guy, let's be honest. And what really disturbed me is that Farrakhan actually called him the Messiah on several occasions. We're going to play that and other clips for you after this. It's the Alex Jones Show.